Hi everyone. Hello. So this is my first time going live with my face, and I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, but I don't really care. Hi everyone. I don't know if anyone's actually watching. So I'm gonna start this in like a minute. Let me just. I need to send a few messages. I have some unresolved things to do because I was procrastinating doing this. Um, since I see there are actually people here, just as a heads up, there is a very brief lag between what you see and what I do. So I cannot. There will be a brief delay with the chat, but I will be watching the chat. I'll be watching every single thing that happens in the chat. Hello, Grace. Hello, V. It's nice to see you. Or I guess your text there. Okay, I will start this in like 20 seconds. Give me a minute. How's everyone doing tonight? I don't know how everyone's doing. Okay, so I don't really know how many people are viewing this. I can actually see all of the stats of the stream here, but I'm not going to be checking back on this much. I'm going to be reading the live chat. So we're 2 minutes in. This is already going to take a really long time. So let's do this. So some context for anyone who does not know why I'm doing this. So let me fix my camera. So my friend, who I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but my friend has been telling me for a very long time to get a Letterboxd account. So this is a website where you can review movies and stuff. So if I go to the homepage of this website, there are all kinds of, basically every movie that exists is on here. And you can review them, you can rate them, you can leave reviews, and I've been holding off on making this account. I've been saying, I don't want to do this, but now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So that's what this is. And today we are going to basically be looking at every movie that I was recommended in August, which is a lot. So that's what I spent my August doing. How did you spend your August, everyone? But yeah, so you can review, you can rate movies, you can say if you like them or not. I'm not gonna use the like feature because I think that the rating system takes the place of that. And number scores are stupid. Number scores are really dumb, but I use them anyway because they're like a decent visualizer. But my number scale is very different from what most people's number scales would be. And if you watched my MCU video, was I paid by Letterboxd? I was not paid by Letterboxd to do this. YouTube does not pay me. So, I did a previous video where I reviewed every Marvel movie, MCU movie. So I found this list of all MCU movies in order. So I'm just going to really quickly go through all of my number scores for every MCU movie. I'm not going to review them here because I already have a 2-hour-long video about that. So if you want to know why I rated something, just go watch that video. But if you have questions or you have suggestions of things you want me to review in the middle of the stream, just put them in the chat and I will do it, if I've seen it. Okay, and after I review the MCU movies really quickly, or rate them all, I'm going to explain how my number scores work, because it's a little wonky compared to other people's. Okay, so Iron Man 1. We're going to go in chronological order. Iron Man 1, I gave this a 7 out of 10. So Letterboxd only goes up to 5 stars, but I'm assuming everyone here can do multiplication. So whatever I put as the star score, just multiply that by 2, and that's my score. Because I go from 1 to 10, okay? Everyone can multiply, I hope. Hulk, I hate this movie. It's a 2. Iron Man 2 is a 4. Thor is a 3. Captain America 1 is a 7. It used to be a 5, but I really like this movie now. Avengers is a 9. This is I think the best MCU movie. Iron Man 3 is a 4. It's very underrated. I hate Thor the Dark World. It's 2. I love Winter Soldier. This is an 8. Guardians of the Galaxy is an 8. Age of Ultron's a 4. And I'm doing this really quickly because I already reviewed all of them in a previous video, and I just have these scores committed to memory. They could change at any moment, but I think after this MCU marathon, I'm fine with all of these scores. Just check chat. Anything with Florence Pugh? Yes, hi Tristan. Tristan's aware of the hidden codes on all of my social media. So if you want to know which Justin Gabriel is me, you look for this code. It means Florence Pugh fan page. That's what that actually means. It's on my Instagram. It's on everything. It's on my channel. Homecoming's my favorite. It's a 9. Ragnarok's an 8. This is gonna last for a few hours. So I don't mind if people jump back and like go in and out of stream. I don't really mind. Although some of you on this stream did recommend me movies, and I did get to all of them. So we're almost done. Endgame disclaimer. Endgame's not a movie in my opinion, so my score doesn't really matter that much. I'm not going to rate TV shows or short films. Black Widow's a 6. Okay, that's every MCU movie. So let me explain how my score distribution works. So Letterboxd also has this little distribution thing. I'm predictable. How am I predictable, Tristan? Okay, so 1 out of 10 is for my absolute most hated movies. It is very hard for me to give something a 1 out of... It is easier to get a 9 on my score than a 1. I have to really hate something to be a 1. It has to be torture level bad for it to be a 1. 2 means dog shit. Like, 2s are awful. Like, Incredible Hulk is a 2. Okay? 3s are baseline bad movies. Okay? 4 is below average, pretty bad, but not awful. 5, so I have to explain this. So I think we've all been brainwashed by the American school system to think that like 70 is passing and anything below that is bad. But to me, it doesn't work on my scale. So 5 is like the mean, median, and mode, okay? Ideally, if I were to watch every movie in existence, we'd get like a bell curve, and 5 would be at the center. This is for average movies. So I'm going to be giving a lot of 5s, and I don't want you to think like, oh my god, this is a failing score. You've been brainwashed by the American school's grading system. 6 is good movies. 7 is great, 8 is amazing, 9 is masterpiece, and 10 is very rare, okay? I don't give a lot of 10s. 10s are for my absolute favorite movies, okay? Something can be a 9, and it can be basically perfect, but 10s are a very rare score. I'm not going to give a lot of 10s. And number scores are stupid, so the only thing that really matters here is, only scores that really matter here are 0, 5, and 10. Okay, now we're done with all the Marvel movies. Now, I did say in the previous video, and a lot of people asked me about this, what's my only 10 out of 10 Marvel movie? Because I only have one. There's only one Marvel movie that I give the 10 out of 10 to. And I didn't tell you what it was. And some people asked me, and some people even tried to guess what it was. And some of you came pretty close. We're going to talk about that later. Okay, so I don't know who's watching, but we're going to go move on. Now, earlier in the year, in January, I watched every Pixar movie in a marathon. This was during January. I had a bit of a few weeks where I thought I had COVID, so I was self-isolating in my room and I watched all the Pixar movies. Well, I'm going to review them all now. This is like the meat of what people would come here for. I'm going to go through all of them, and I have some controversial opinions on these movies. You're going to start with Toy Story. Now, there's not much controversy with me giving this movie a good score. I still really love this movie, and I always will. It's very close to my heart. I can't really rag on the animation because this is like a pioneer. I think this is the first fully computer animated movie ever. Someone can correct me on that. But this is I love this movie. It's an 8. I don't think that's a controversial thing. I don't think I need to explain why this is an 8. And number scores aren't that important. Okay, now this one. So in January, I ranked every Pixar movie on like my Instagram, I think. I don't remember where it was, if it was on the Discord server or what. And oh, by the way, if you want to follow me on Letterboxd, I don't think anyone has a Letterboxd here, but mine is appa_yip_yip_, kind of the same as my Instagram, but Letterboxd doesn't allow periods in your profile name. Now, one of my friends got mad at me because I said I didn't like Bug's Life. And I still stand by this. This movie is really not that good. Okay? I know it has this whole social uprising thing, but it's just so tongue-in-cheek with... Not tongue-in-cheek. It's just so boring with how it handles it. Like, there's a whole... what's the trope called where, you know... The liar revealed trope, right? It's very self-indulgent with that, and I don't like this movie. I don't like it. It's lame. It's getting a 4. We'll do DreamWorks later. Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 1 to me are about the same. Toy Story 1 has a better story. Toy Story 2 has more depth to it. I think they about cancel out. So these are about the same to me. Okay. Hello, the proletariat. I don't know who some of you are, but thank you for coming. Monsters, Inc. is almost perfect. I love Monsters, Inc. If you don't like this movie, there's something wrong with you. I love this movie. Everything in Monsters, Inc. works. It's funny. It's emotional. The animation is really good. Like, for the time, if you look at all the hair on Sully, it took a lot of computer power and time to render this. And I'm not a computer person, but I know that it must have taken some time to do that. Everything about this movie is fire. It's a 9. It's almost a 10. It's borderline 10. It just lacks that little emotional push for me. And it is a very emotional movie. But for me, 10 is reserved for my all-time favorites. And there aren't a lot. And some of you might know what my all-time favorite is. Nemo is... So, I hadn't watched Nemo since I was very young. And then when I rewatched it as a 19-year-old, this movie still holds up. I remember it being more like, oh, this is just, there isn't much going on here. It's just like a nice story. But then I realized sometimes that's what we need. And then it really does blend the whole theme about fatherhood in with this. And it's not ham-fisted either. There are some movies that are very ham-fisted with their fatherhood themes. But this one's very nice. I'm going to turn the fan on because my room has no aircon. So if you hear a buzzing, that's the fan. Okay, this is an 8. I'm going to give Nemo an 8. I'm giving a lot of 8s, but Pixar is above average. The Incredibles is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. This is, for me, this is better than any MCU movie. And there's like one Marvel movie that's better than The Incredibles. But I love The Incredibles. It's basically 1 hour of depressed middle-aged man tries to solve his midlife crisis, and another hour of just pure fight scene. And this is the only movie that I can think of that just makes one gigantic hour-long fight scene work. It's incredible. See what I did there? It's a 9. I cried for Finding Nemo. I did. I actually didn't cry for Finding. I should probably also tell you where I cried, like which movies made me cry. So far, none of these have made me cry. Well, no. Okay, I have to explain this one because, okay, I'm gonna talk for a while about Cars. So, I think universally, people consider the Cars trilogy to be a low point of Pixar. And I kind of agree. Like, why are people sending in foot emojis? Do you want feet pics? Is this going to be a foot stream? No, you're not seeing my feet. I refuse. So, I have to explain. I did not cry for Cars. I did not cry for Cars. Let me be clear, I did not cry during Cars. But this movie is unironically really good. So I remember, this movie has always been a meme to me. Let me say that. So I one Christmas Eve morning, I woke up and I sent my friend a Cars meme. It was it went like I am speed. And then the derivative of that was I am acceleration. And it was really funny. And then the integral of that was I am displacement. And she was like, oh, you should watch Cars. And I had just woken up and the semester was done. So I said, fine, I'm going to watch Cars. And I unironically liked it. It's funny. This movie's funny. The car puns are nice. And okay, if I think too hard about this movie, it makes my head hurt, but I give it a pass because it's actually a good story. I said this in the Marvel video, but Lightning McQueen and Thor have the same character arc, but Cars actually did it well, whereas Thor just fucked up the entire story, right? This is the same plot as Thor. If you've watched Thor and Cars 1, you know exactly what I mean. And this movie is very special to me because I spent way too long thinking about the biology of these cars, and I've just accepted it. I've just come to accept that nothing in this world makes sense. They don't need to be cars, but it's fine. Okay? I'm going to give this a good score. And now when I see this friend, I greet her with ka-chow, and then I get ka-chinga back, and it's really funny. It's really funny. This movie is special to me. It's getting a 7. I'm giving Cars 1 the same score that I gave Avengers Endgame. Okay, now. This is a historical moment for the channel because I'm about to give the very first 10 out of 10 score on this channel. This movie is one of the best movies of all time. Okay? And if you disagree with me, I highly implore you to watch Ratatouille. It is one of the greatest things ever put to animation. Okay? This is truly, in my opinion, where mid-2000s animation peaked. I love Ratatouille. It's so good. I know everyone knows the ending scene with the monologue from Ego and, the whole, Remy's cooking reminded Ego of his home. But everything about the soundtrack, first of all, I think that this has the best soundtrack of any Pixar movie. I know people say Soul and Up and The Incredibles have the best score, but I think that Ratatouille has the best score. Sometimes, whenever I put on the La Festine song, I think of cooking. This movie is so good with its vibes and its ability to showcase textures and flavors through animation. It's wonderful. This is my personal one. This is a very strong candidate for my personal favorite Pixar movie. And it is one of my favorite movies of all time, unironically. I know TikTok kind of made Ratatouille and Remy into a meme. Okay? But it deserves it. This movie's phenomenal. This is one of the best movies ever made. Unironically. Okay, And we have back-to-back bangers from Pixar because we have another one of my favorite movies of all time. I've said in the past that Wall-E is my favorite Pixar movie. And I don't know anymore because of Ratatouille. Upon rewatching Ratatouille, I'm not sure. But this is also a 10. The first hour of this movie is perfection in film. It is the most perfect hour in any movie that I have ever seen. The wordless first hour with the intro with the Hello Dolly song, and without any dialogue, we see Wall-E fall in love with Eve. And there are little things in Wall-E that just make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, that show character development without ham-fisted dialogue. So I love Pixar. So if anyone remembers from Wall-E where so Wall-E has in his little home thing, he has 1 cup of spoons and 1 cup of forks, and he finds a spork and he doesn't know where to put it. And I think that just shows very well how curious, how much this robot wants to think and feel something. And this made me want to watch Hello Dolly. If there are any Broadway people here, this made me want to watch Hello Dolly. It's a 5. 10 on my score. 5 stars. Oh, by the way, Letterboxd lets you put, I don't know if anyone here uses Letterboxd, but Letterboxd lets you put 4 favorite films up. I have to do that at the end. Okay, we're going to do that at the end. This is a 10. And also, I'm an environmentalist. Everyone who knows me knows that. So, to me, this is the movie this is the best. This is one of the best environmentalist movies I've ever seen, as opposed to another movie that we're going to deal with later that I personally cannot stand. Okay, let me check on chat. I almost cried for Wall-E, but I did cry a little bit for Wall-E. Okay, let's talk about Up. The first 10 minutes of Up. First 15 minutes of Up. Perfection. All of Carl's life up until Ellie dies is perfection. The rest of the movie is still pretty good, but it's not amazing. It's just pretty good. I think thematically it's not as strong as the other Pixar movies, but that opening scene raises it like a point. It's getting an 8 for me. I do think that if people call this their favorite, I think it's fine. I think that I don't judge anyone based on what their favorite is. Everyone has their own opinion. But I personally think, I'm sorry people, that this is the most overrated Pixar movie. It didn't deserve Best Picture nomination at the Oscars, although the Oscars are pretty stupid. I don't normally agree with what the Oscars pick. But it's still really good, and I still love it. And yes, the wedding soundtrack gets me every time as well. It's called Married Life, if you wanna. So sometimes we hear instrumental tracks and we don't know what they're called. Ratatouille, the theme of Ratatouille is called Le Festin. The theme from Up is called Married Life. And then in Ratatouille, the one that goes... I've been looking for that for a really long time. It's called Kumpania 2. Kumpania, Kumpania 2. Now, this is the best Toy Story movie. And if you... Oh my god. Toy Story 3 is the best Toy Story movie. This movie is basically perfect. It's basically a prison escape movie. And it's the best prison escape movie that I've ever seen. Hi, Isabel. I've been telling Isabel for a very long time that I was going to review every Pixar movie, so I'm glad that you're here, Isabel. I love Toy Story 3. It's not my favorite, okay, because Wall-E and Ratatouille exist, but if Wall-E and Ratatouille were never made, Toy Story 3 would be a very strong candidate for my favorite Pixar movie. This movie is phenomenal. And frankly, if they had just ended Pixar at this movie, not the Toy Story series itself, but all of Pixar had just ended at Toy Story 3, I could say that its whole time, except for Bug's Life, without making a bad movie. And Bug's Life isn't even that bad. They should have just stopped at Toy Story 3. Because the ending of this movie is perfect. I actually cried more at the end of Toy Story 3 than the beginning of Up. That might be a bit of a hot take, but it's true. And the reason why I say that it could have ended at Toy Story 3 is because we have another historic moment on this channel. Because I'm going to give the very first, very rare 1 out of 10 on this channel. I hate this movie. Yes, I'm sorry, Kevin. I hate Cars 2. I despise this movie on a fundamental level. I cannot stand Cars 2. Okay? It's dumb. It's stupid. Everyone in this movie is stupid. In their own special way. So Mater... Okay, I can't call Mater stupid. Mater's kind of just dragged into this plot. But these two spy cars, what are their names? I don't even know their names. What are their names? Finn McMissile and Holly Shiftwell. They don't realize that Mater's not this car they're looking for? And then at the end, during the chase scene, when Mater's like, I'm the bomb, because he has the bomb attached to him, and McQueen's like, yes, Mater, you're the bomb. I hate this movie. And by the way, this movie, everyone knows this, but this movie has Cars Pope. Which means that in this movie series, there is a car Jesus, there was a car Roman Empire, there was a car crucifixion. I don't even know how that works. And you're not dumb if you like this movie, because I can derive a lot of ironic enjoyment from this movie. You guys have to understand that I would rather watch a really bad movie than a really good movie. I just have to be in some kind of different mental state of mind, like drunk. Look at the tagline for this movie, Ka-chow. I think that says it all. I hate this movie. I hate this. If you like it, good for you. But this is the very first 1 out of 10 on this channel. There's nothing redeeming to me about this movie, except maybe I can laugh at it. But this is a meme. This movie is a meme to me. And it's this movie, oh my god. There's also a scene where the grandma of the enemy car is like watching the race. So how do cars reproduce? Like what? I don't get it. I hate this movie. I have so many. Who needs the? Oh, I hate the Cars universe. I like Cars 1 for reasons that I've already said, but Cars 2 is not good. Brave. Okay. I don't like Brave. I'm very sorry, everyone. If you like Brave, good for you, but I find this movie so boring. On paper, it's a very good movie. I don't know. There's just too many slapstick jokes for me to take this movie seriously. If they had been a little more serious with the whole plot, we're gonna get to Soul, but I think Soul takes a similar premise as Brave and actually does it well. But the way that Brave does it, it's just too jokey for me at times. And then there's no tension in this movie for me. I don't feel anything when I watch it. It has some good scenes. I really like the archery scenes where Merida she beats all the other princes at the archery contest so she doesn't have to get married. I like that. But that's about it. I don't really like anything else in this movie. This is a worse version of Soul, basically. Monsters University. I like this movie. It's cool. Now, I go to college. I only know Brave because of that one meme quote. Which meme quote is it? If you had to change your fate, would you? I don't know any quotes from Brave. Monsters University is fine. It's good. I can't relate to it that much, maybe because I'm not involved in Greek life. I don't know. I know that almost all of you in this who are watching this right now are in college. So you guys can comment on if this movie was representative of your college experience, because it wasn't for me. But it's still cute. I like it. I'm going to give it an above average score, and Aubrey Plaza is in this movie. So it gets an extra point. It's getting a 6. I love Inside Out. This one also made me cry. I love Inside Out. I think this movie is very mature with how it handles emotions, especially compared to the other Pixar movies. I really like how this movie doesn't shy away from the importance of sadness, and joy is almost toxic positivity in this movie. Not almost, she is toxic positivity, but it's never shown insidiously. It's always, she means well, but you can't always be positive in order to make people happy. Because sometimes you just need to let sadness take over. You need to have that good cathartic cry. And I think Inside Out handled this theme very maturely. And this movie did make me cry. It's a 9. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you just watch the movie. It's so good. Good Dinosaur has very nice landscapes. Visually, this is one of the best Pixar movies. But I don't remember the story of this movie. I do kind of remember the story, actually. But I didn't care for it. And I care more about the story and the characters than anything else. And I didn't feel anything. I have some friends who really like this movie. And I get it. I get why you would like it. But to me, this is just really bland. It's a 4. I'm much meaner than the other Letterboxd reviewers. Like, I'm looking at the average Letterboxd score, and I'm being much meaner than them. Finding Dory is... This is a cute movie. That's all I'll say. It's cute. It's a 6. I like how this movie handles disability. Because the disabilities that the characters have in this movie are never shown to be debilitating. They're just a part of you, you know? And it's never shown to be something to be ashamed of. And I know the whole thing is, you know, Marlin insults Dory based on her inability to remember, and that kind of sends her on this quest. I just think that was neat. I think that was neat. So, 6 out of 10. Inside Out Mom meme. I don't remember the Inside Out memes. Hi, Ishtar. Cars 3. Okay. I like Cars 3. I think thematically, Cars 3 is very strong. I like how this movie shows Lightning McQueen finding a new purpose in life. My issue is that I don't see Lightning McQueen aging. And so I find it very hard to believe that he's too old to race. But it's good. I like it. I think it's 7 out of 10. 2.9. You guys are... No. This is wrong. Yeah, I like this movie. I think it's a very strong way to end the Cars trilogy. And I think it's a good message for anyone who feels like they are no longer as good as they once were at something. And it shows how you can find new purpose in life. Teaching, training, and doing anything else. Because you're not bound to one thing in your life. You can inspire people. Okay. Moving on to Coco. Now, Coco is what I call a reverse Turing test. If you do not cry during this movie, You are not human. This is a 10. This is the one movie that I know for a fact will make me cry if I watch it. That is all I'm going to say. I think everyone who has seen this movie already knows what I'm talking about. Incredibles 2 is like an average movie. It's a 5. It has some really good stuff and some really bad stuff. That's all I'll say. I don't have much to say about Incredibles 2. Toy Story 4 is overhated. It's not as bad as people say it is. It's just that it's not the ending that a lot of people were looking for. A lot of people, I think, attached themselves emotionally to the ending of 3. And so the idea of Woody going off and doing his own thing and separating from everyone else kind of feels wrong. And I felt that too. But the more I think about it, I think I'm fine with the character development in this movie. My biggest problem is that Buzz is a fucking moron in this movie. And it kind of undoes all of his character development in favor of giving Woody another arc, or completing his arc. And I don't know how to balance that, because it kind of makes Toy Story like Woody's story. This also has the best animation, second best animation of any Pixar movie. It's getting a 6. Onward kind of sucked, in my opinion. It didn't suck. It was just whatever. Okay? I didn't feel anything during this movie. I don't like it that much. I don't remember anything that happens in this journey at all. I kind of know the plot. It's just so forgettable to me. And I don't know. The way that Chris Pratt and Tom Holland deliver their lines sometimes also kind of rubbed me off the wrong way. They're kind of like rushing through the script, and I don't know. It's not that good. It could have said itself. Oh, I'll tell you the big problem I have with this movie. And spoilers for Onward, but the whole theme of this movie is they want to spend one more day with their now deceased dad, but at the end, Tom Holland's character, what's his name? Ian realizes that his brother Barley was like his surrogate father. And that's a really strong theme, okay? Excellent theme. But they don't do anything with it because throughout the whole movie, Barley, who's Chris Pratt elf, there's no indication that he was ever a father figure to Ian. And at the end, they just have this forced montage where he realizes that. And I don't like it because, well, where was that before? You know, you have to build it up throughout the movie. You have to build up your theme. Don't curse. Do not curse. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll keep this PG. I'll keep this PG in my language. But yeah, you have to build up your themes throughout the movie instead of just throwing it in at the end. So that's why I didn't like Onward. Contrast that with a movie that really builds up its ideas well. Soul is beautiful. I love Soul. I think my biggest... I don't really have any issues with it. I think this... So when I talked to my friends about their favorite Pixar movies, Soul was actually the most common answer. I thought that most people were going to say, like, the Toy Story movies or Ratatouille, but people really liked this one a lot. And I think we kind of relate to it as college students, you know, finding a purpose. And then your whole purpose is living. It's not really about purpose. It's about why you live. And I think that this is a very unique take on the, quote, meaning of life. You know? I really like Soul. It's getting a 9. And last but not least, definitely not least, we have Luca. This movie made me very hungry. It made me hungry for pasta. What was the pasta recipe they made here? Peste el Trinet, something like that? I don't know, I'm hungry for it now. I've never had it. Thematically, this one's not as strong as the other Pixar movies, but it's also not trying to. It's not trying to be thematically as rich as Coco or Inside Out or Soul. It's just... I think people were comparing this to Call Me by Your Name, the Timothée Chalamet movie, which I've never watched. I've never watched Call Me by Your Name, but people were comparing it to this, and I don't know how I feel about that because I know that movie is very sexual, and I know that these boys, Sea Monster boys, are very young, so I don't know how comfortable I feel when people kind of project that onto this movie, but this is just a fun ride. It's a 7. It's very fun. So that's all the Pixar movies, I think. And now we can, Letterboxd has us to do this thing where we can rate it, sort it by our rating. Yeah. Yeah, so these are my 3 10 out of 10 movies. Coco, Ratatouille, and Wally. On my scale so far. So I think Pixar movies tend to be above average. Like you can see the distribution here is not exactly where I said it would be. It's kind of skewed, but that's fine for now. Okay, so I had a list of movies that I was going to talk about. These are the movies that I was recommended over this August. And I realized that there were a lot of Dreamworks movies on it. So I figured I'm just going to pull up the list of all the Dreamworks movies and just check off the ones that I've seen. Or seen and remember. I think that's fair. Instead of just doing the ones that I was recommended. While we're here, you know? Okay. And I'm doing these in release order. So Ants is the first Dreamworks movie. And I think, I don't know what the... 6 pages. Hell. We're also not going to do... we're not going to rate documentaries. I don't think there are any Dreamworks documentaries. We're not going to rate the short films, because I don't think we can do that. And we're not going to rate TV shows. So we're only going to do feature-length movies. I think that's fair. Okay, I've never watched Ants. Prince of Egypt. This is one of my favorite religious movies of all time. And I don't talk about my religious views. None of my friends know what my religious views are because I don't think it matters. But I don't think you need to be Jewish or Christian or whatever to love Prince of Egypt. This movie is phenomenal. I think this is the best animated musical I've ever seen, actually. I think the songs here are the best of any... Wait, is it? Yes, I think this is the best animated musical I've ever seen. And the religious themes here aren't so much religious as they are... Well, they are religious, but they integrate very well into the story, like the actual character themes in this movie. And I really like how this movie plays up the brotherhood between Moses and Ramses, because they were brothers. And other movies, other adaptations of the Exodus story kind of just make Moses this almost blind arbiter of divine intervention. And I don't necessarily... There's nothing wrong with that interpretation, because I think that biblically that kind of follows what happens. But I think it's much more interesting to have Moses and Ramses hesitate their actions. And that's what this adaptation does that I've never seen any other adaptation do. It makes sure to show how the two brothers are heartbroken about what they have to do, but they both find a greater purpose in what they're doing than their brotherhood. And it tears them apart, their destinies. And it's beautiful. This is... it's a 9, yeah. 9 is fine. I watched El Dorado when I was very little, but I don't remember a thing about it. I don't even remember if I actually paid attention to it. I watched this back when Netflix delivered movies, like the DVDs, to your house in the little sleeve. And I don't remember a thing that happened, so I've watched it. but I can't rate it. And I'm not going to hit the watch button because it's going to show up on my profile and I don't want that. I need to rewatch this one to evaluate it. I don't remember anything that happens there. Chicken Run, I haven't watched Chicken Run since I was little, but I remember really liking it. I think if I watched it now, it would be a 6. This is a cute movie. It's cute. I'm going to try to speed run some of these. Cyberpunk 3D. I have no idea what this is. Shrek. Oh, okay. Let's talk about Shrek. This is like the granddaddy of all movies. Shrek is an 8. Shrek is... I don't know what to say about Shrek. I think everyone's already talked about Shrek, and I think everyone already knows why this is good. It's a meme. This movie's a meme, but it's a good meme. It's like 50% meme. But the remaining 50% is such a powerful story. It's me. Shrek Retold is better. I don't know if anyone has watched Shrek Retold. I like Shrek Retold more. Spirit is like El Dorado in that I watched it, but I also didn't watch it. Shrek 2 is a 9. Shrek 2 is borderline 10. This movie is perfect. Okay? Shrek 2... Shrek an 8. You're gonna anger the Shrekers. Yeah, I'm sorry, Shrekers. I'm sorry. But I remember, on my scale, 8 means amazing-ish, right? So, on most people's scales, my 8 would be equivalent to like a 9 or a 10. So, I'm just mean with my score. I just don't like to give super high scores. But Shrek 2 is a 9. That's almost 10. I think I would have to rewatch this and determine if it's a 10 or not. Because this is a... So I saw this meme where it was like, the premise of Shrek 2 is very similar to the premise of Get Out. And if you've seen Get Out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to try not to talk too much about the endings of these movies, but Shrek 2 is a 9. Almost a 10. Did I watch Shark Tale? I never watched Shark Tale. Madagascar. I watched Madagascar when I was very little. And apparently I liked it a lot when I was little. But now, I don't know, I haven't watched this movie in at least 10 years. So I don't know if I can evaluate it. But I really liked it as a kid. And I feel like now I'd just be entertained by it. I don't know how funny this is now. If I were to watch this now... Oh, the penguins are in this movie. The penguins are the best part of the Madagascar franchise. Easily. 5 or 6. I think we're gonna give this a 5. Just because it's a good movie, but it's like average. I think it would be good now. I'm not sure. Wallace and Gromit, we might have watched this in our AP Lit or creative writing class. I have no idea. Over the Hedge is in the same territory as Spirit and El Dorado in that I don't remember anything. B-Movie's a joke. Kung Fu Panda is a 9. Kung Fu Panda is probably my personal favorite DreamWorks movie. Everything about this movie is so good. Kung Fu Panda has better fight scenes than most superhero movies. I don't think that's... I'm going to stand by that. There are a few superhero movies with fight scenes that rival the best things in Kung Fu Panda, but not many. I also watched Madagascar too, but I don't remember anything, but I'm pretty confident that if I watched it now, it would be a 5. Oh, I love How to Train Your Dragon. I love this movie. I think the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is my favorite trilogy of all time. I love this movie. This movie doesn't really have a villain. I think the villain in this movie is ignorance and prejudice, and it works wonders. I really like how this movie almost feels like a crocodile hunter special on how to handle dragons. I really like Hiccup, and Toothless is probably the best dragon in all of movie history. You can quote me on that. Ooh, this is an 8 or a 9. Ooh, I don't know what to give this movie. Gerard Butler's in this movie? Who's Gerard Butler? Stoic? Gerard Butler voices Stoic? Really? Huh. Yeah, I know Gerard Butler from Phantom of the Opera. I've never seen this movie, but I know that he was Phantom. Really? Wow. That's something. How to Train Your Dragon is going to get 8 or 9. I don't know. Chat, help me out. 8 or 9 for How to Train Your Dragon. We're gonna get back to this one. We're gonna get back to it in a minute. I've never watched Shrek Forever After. Megamind. Now, Megamind is how you do the whole superhero movie subversion type thing. This is my... I don't know if Megamind's an anti-hero or not. But does Megamind fit the anti-hero definition? Maybe. Maybe. But I love this movie. This is a very good movie on the theme of nature versus nurture, if you ask me. I think this is the best movie that ever did nature versus nurture. And it's funny. This movie's really funny. This is like Guardians of the Galaxy, like soundtrack-wise. This is like Guardians before Guardians. But I think that Guardians integrated its soundtrack better. But this is a banging soundtrack. J.K. Simmons is here. J.K. Simmons is the warder. I can talk about Megamind for a really long time. Probably an 8 for How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, I'll go with that. It's an 8. I've never watched Kung Fu Panda 2. Never watched. Crudes. I liked this when I watched it in theaters. I was much younger then. I did like it. I'm gonna give it a 6. Yeah, because I really liked it in theaters, and I don't know how it would hold up now, but I think it's getting a 6 now. I never watched it. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is worse than the first one. It's way worse. I didn't like this one that much. I still really liked it. It's still really good. But I have the least to say about it compared to the other How to Train Your Dragons. Never watched. Boss Baby's a joke. Here we go. Hidden World. This is an 8. No, this is a... Hidden World is as good as the first movie. I think this is the best possible ending that they could have gone for. The only thing that I don't like about Hidden World, and it's only one thing, but it's a very big thing that kind of ruins the movie for me. It's... what's the name of this character? Rough Nut? Rough Nut, yes, the one that Kristen Wiig voices. Rough Nut is so annoying in this movie. I skipped every scene that she was in. Okay, she's not just annoying, she's stupid. Okay, she deliberately leads, what's his name? Grimmel? Not deliberately, sorry, that's not what deliberately means. But her annoyingness leads Grimmel to Hiccup. And it's very aggravating to watch. This is almost as dumb as how the conflict unrolls in Cars 2. So I'm going to dock it a point from what I would normally give it. I'm going to give it a 7 because Rough Nut is so annoying. Okay, that's how much I don't like Rough Nut. Rough Nut is in my top 10 most annoying movie characters of all time. But if that had been done a little bit better, this would be as good as the original. It'd be an 8. Okay? And like I said, this is one of my favorite trilogies. No, I think this is my favorite trilogy of all time. How to Train Your Dragon? And I think that's all the DreamWorks movies. I think their most recent one was Spirit Untamed. And I've never watched any of these. They're making a Shrek 5? Really? Why? A reboot? You're joking. You can't reboot Shrek. That's disgraceful. You can't reboot Shrek. Okay, so that was all of the DreamWorks movies that I've seen. I kind of want to review B-Movie as a meme, because I've technically seen the B-Movie, just the sped up version. Like the one where it's like every time there's a B on screen, it speeds up. But that's not fair. I did mention Get Out, so if I mentioned a movie, I guess I'll talk about it. Hold on. Okay. I did mention Get Out, so we're gonna review Get Out. And I'm not a horror person. Okay? A horror movie has to be really good for me to like it, because I'm a scaredy cat. Get Out, however, is not really horror. It's more of it's a thriller movie. I'll give it that, or psychological horror. And I really like how this movie handles its themes. The symbolism in this movie is wild. Just go into it and don't expect anything. Right? I'm sure everyone knows the plot of this movie, but if you don't, go watch it and just let it overwhelm you. It's a 9. When I first watched, high school me would have given this a 10 out of 10. But now I look back and I say, it's not one of my all-time favorites. It's a 9. Okay. So that about sums up. Okay, we're 61 movies in. Yeah, I'm not really following my curve, like I said. But then again, that was like if I were to watch theoretically every movie ever, it would get that bell curve distribution. I've given a lot of 9s. Interesting. I'm not gonna go change the scores just to get the right curve. That sounds stupid. Okay, now we can get to the standalone movies that I've been recommended. I'm just gonna go down the list of movies that I was asked to watch for this. Okay, and I'm not really going in any particular order. So if you want to throw in a movie in the chat, go ahead. I don't know how many people are still watching, but you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's just go in the order in my book. Hold on. Okay, it's kind of in a random order in my book. Okay, so the first movie that I was recommended was this relatively new sci-fi movie. It's called Stowaway. It has Anna Kendrick, and what I will say is that this is basically the Charlie Problem put to film. Yeah, someone reviewed this already. No one can really debate the Charlie Problem. Yep. That's about it. 5. Average movie. I'm never going to think about this again, unless I think about the Charlie Problem. Ted. Okay, so my friends have been asking me for years to watch Ted, calling this one of the funniest movies they've ever seen. So I finally watched it. And it's not good. I don't know if I unironically laughed during this movie. This is just an extended Family Guy cutaway gag that lasts way too long. It's getting a 3. It's not a 2 because there's some ironically funny things, and it's just so insane that I can't give it a 2. It's a 3. And some of these reviews, so you see how people can type up reviews? I'm gonna type up some of these later. But I don't feel like typing on screen. Hey, yo, Lois, I'm a teddy bear. Yeah, that about sums up my vibes with this movie. It's not good. Then I went on my friend's page, and I told her I'd pick 5 random movies from her page. And this is the first one that came up with the random number generator. Bo Burnham's Inside. And I almost didn't want to do this one because it doesn't feel like a movie to me. This is a concert. So I don't know how to rate this one. I think I'm going to give it a... And you see, I'm trying not to be influenced by this rating down here because I'm not trying to please other people, if that makes sense. So I don't really care if my rating goes against the norm. That's not an issue for me. Now, I did like this movie as much as I can like a concert. But it's just not for me. This style of film is not necessarily my cup of tea. As a visual concert, it's like a 9. But my personal taste, and number scores are really dumb, so it doesn't really matter. If you disagree with my score, just the takeaway should be that I can't rate this movie, but I'm giving it a 6 because I did enjoy it. The next movie that I picked from her page was actually Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton one. But I figured while I'm here, I'll just watch the original one with Gene Wilder. And this is like an average movie for me. The acting from the kids is so bad that it always takes me out of this movie. The Gene Wilder is really good. Now, I will say that and the people who went to high school with me will know exactly what I'm about to talk about. I don't know who the 2 viewers who are watching this right now are, but if either of you went to high school with me, you know exactly what I'm about to say. Okay? I cannot watch this movie without thinking about calculus. Because, so I took Calculus AB, AP Calculus AB in high school, but the BC kids, the kids who took BC, had a choice. They could either do a final paper or something, or they could put on like a calculus musical. And every year they riff off of a different musical. And our year, the BC kids chose Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And so when I hear If You Want to View Paradise, right, from the Pure Imagination song, all I hear is, what was the line? If you want to view tangent lines, and it's so funny. It's so funny. If I watch this with calculus in mind, this ironically gets like an 8. But as an actual movie, it's a 5. They killed the kids. How is this? That is true. This movie is very morbid. I don't know how they got away with this movie. I truly do not. It's a 5. And in the other one, the new one, hold on, the new one is even more morbid because this is Tim Burton, and Tim Burton doesn't like kid-friendly things. Willy Wonka and the Calculus Factory, yes. I can't think of Willy Wonka anymore without thinking about calculus. And it makes these movies ironically funnier. Ironically. But like as actual movies, they're fine. They're just average movies. They're enjoyable, but yeah, that's all I'll say. The Matilda movie. This was directed by Danny DeVito, and it shows. This is an 8. Easily. At least an 8. This is an 8. If you don't think so, you just don't like fun. Everyone needs Miss Honey in their life. That's all I'll say. Everyone needs a Miss Honey in their life. The Holes movie. Now, we had to read this in 6th grade? 5th or 6th grade? Mr. Sengupta would be very proud. Mr. Sengupta was our calculus teacher. Our school's only calculus teacher. Holes. I liked this movie, but it wasn't that good. I liked it. It's a 5, 6. 6 or 5? No, it's 2. 5 is too low. It's a 6. It's very close to the book, though, I will say, because I read the book a long time ago, and it's very close to the book. That's all I'll say. What's up next on this list of movies? Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, I love Nightmare Before Christmas. This is such a unique movie. The animation in Nightmare Before Christmas is gorgeous, okay? This movie is gorgeously animated. It's such a unique concept. I like movies that go places where you don't necessarily expect them to, or like they set up these weird universes, and you just kind of have to go in without questioning the logic of things. That does not apply to Cars. It applied to Cars 1 because the movie was actually good, and then I waive all, I have no mercy with Cars 2. But Nightmare Before Christmas is like an 8 or a 7. 7. It's fine. It's a really good movie. I would like to rewatch this every year. Let's check my list. We went through all the DreamWorks movies. Oh, so I kind of grouped... Okay. Sports film is my least favorite genre of movie. Maybe because it reminds me that I'm not an athlete. But I was recommended 3 sports movies, and we're just going to do them all in one. We're going to go from worst to best. Let's do that. So, one of my friends wanted me to watch Caddyshack. This is just an extended SNL skit. And it's not funny. People call this movie funny, and I do not see how this is funny. I didn't laugh once. The only good thing about this movie is the gopher. And the gopher is like 5% of it. I don't like this movie. I didn't see any kind of social commentary. Some people see social commentary in this movie, and I don't get it. It's just so much slapstick. And it's an SNL skit, okay? If they had cut out 95% of it and just made this into an extended SNL skit, it would have been fine. But as a feature-length movie, it doesn't work for me. And maybe there is some good commentary in it, social commentary, but if there is, I really don't see it. It's a 3. Miracle is like an average movie. Which one is it? It's this one. This is a hockey movie, and my friend, she really wanted me to watch this. She said that I would really like it. And Kurt Russell is good. I like Kurt Russell. But otherwise, I don't know a single character here. I know Herb Brooks. I can't name a single other character here. As far as sports movies go, this is good. So it's getting a 5. But keep in mind that for me, if the average movie for me is a 5, the average sports movie is a 4. And the last sports movie that I will review, technically Cars is a sports movie, but we're not going to talk about that. This is a 6, because I don't like the sports stuff, but the sports stuff is secondary to the race stuff. And I like movies that handle race well. If it's handled with care, and it's handled with respect. And this movie is very powerful in that regard. Yeah, rest in peace, Chadwick. Rest in peace. Alright, that's the sports movies. Let's move on. Now, Pitch Perfect is a movie that people had been wanting me to watch Pitch Perfect for a very long time. Like, ever since middle school. People have been saying, Justin, watch Pitch Perfect. And I've never gotten around to it. And I swear that when I came into this movie, I thought I was going to hate it. But I actually really like this movie. This movie is really fun to watch. I don't know. I think I just like musicals. And I didn't know Anna Kendrick could sing. It's a 7. I just have a lot of fun watching Pitch Perfect. I didn't expect to have this much fun watching it. I like how... I don't know. Thematically, it's very generic. This is like one of the most basic plots. But it's a good comfort movie. I can see why people watch it for comfort. I watched Pitch Perfect for the first time yesterday. Whoa, look at that. What a coincidence. What did you think about it? You watched it yesterday for the first time. Okay. Speaking, this is like a, sometimes over here they'll have like lists that it's part of. I thought that it would be on the chick flick list. But speaking of chick flicks, we're gonna tackle like the chick flick. Okay? Mean Girls is unironically, it's getting an 8. High School Me would have given this a 9, but some of the jokes didn't age that well upon rewatch. But this is an 8. This is unironically, the girls in this movie, the plastics, are more evil than most Marvel villains. And I mean that. Okay? Yeah, I love Mean Girls. I don't know why. Yeah, if you don't like Mean Girls, you just don't like fun movies. This is like a perfect chick flick. It's not the best chick flick, or my personal favorite. It's not my personal favorite, but I love this movie. At the end of this movie, there's an integral problem on the board, and I couldn't, a limit problem, and I couldn't do it. I mean, I got it wrong. I made a really silly mistake, and it was really funny when I didn't get it. So that wasn't a bit of an embarrassing moment for me. But I would highly recommend that everyone watch Mean Girls. They made us watch this in high school health class, and now I understand why. I love Mean Girls. This is such a good movie. And the burn book is evil. Yeah, some of the things that they do in this movie are more evil than like actual supervillain movies and what they do. God. Oh yeah, Amanda Seyfried's in this movie. She's Karen. And Rachel McAdams is here. This movie made me realize that Doctor Strange wasted Rachel McAdams on like a throwaway character, and I'll never forgive Doctor Strange for that. Oh yeah, one time we took a quiz of what fictional character are you, and I got Sharon Norbury. I don't know why. I don't see it personally. Spongebob Movie is up next. I was asked to watch the Spongebob Movie. Spongebob Movie. So, where's the original one? Here we are. Now, this movie's a 9. Because I rewatched it and I realized there's truly nothing holding this back from being a 9 out of 10. I love this movie. It should not be that good. It's actually, as a movie, its actual movie score is not that good. But if you factor in my personal enjoyment and the fact that it's just so out there, but it's still in line with what you would expect from SpongeBob. It's getting a 9. I really like this movie. And part of that is probably just nostalgia, I think. I think a lot of why I like the SpongeBob Movie is nostalgia. But no, because I rewatched it and it's still pretty good. I still like this movie. Let's see. What's next? Oh, we have a whole slew of animated movies to go through. So let's just get them all over with. Wreck-It Ralph is another movie that... Oh, I typed that up wrong. Anyway, Wreck-It Ralph is another kind of movie that I had been asked to watch for a really long time, and it took me a while to get to it. This is very much a gaming movie that will appeal to you more if you can understand the world of gaming. And I am not a gamer. So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about this now. It's good. It's getting a 6. So I would go on Letterboxd sometimes, not with an account, but like to see commentary, because sometimes you get insights on movies that you haven't visited in a while from commentary, and I think that this review, nothing and no one will change my opinion that this movie is about autism. If you read this review, yeah, it's it changed my opinion on it a bit. I would have given this a 5 before, but with that, rewatching it with that mindset, it's like a 6. It goes up a point. It's not going up to a 7 though, because I don't think it's great. I just think it's really good. Alright, now my friend wanted me to analyze the Emoji Movie. And my analysis... German. Oh, my analysis of this movie is that it sucks. This is one of the rare 1 out of 10 movies. I just have no words for it. I can't even ironically enjoy this movie because I'm just cringing the entire time. It's awful. This movie is so bad. Like, there are other YouTubers who have done a better job explaining why this movie sucks, so I'm not going to do it. But this is honestly on par with Cars 2. I would put this on the level of Cars 2 in terms of how bad it is. It sucks. This movie is awful. I can talk about it more, but I don't really want to. I'm going to give myself an aneurysm. Cars 2 gave me an aneurysm when I watched it, I think. An emotional one. And I'm pretty sure Cars 2 gave me hypertension for like the rest of the week. This movie... I've learned to control my emotions better, but this movie is... I hate it. Speaking of movies that I... Oh, the Lorax. Oh, Lorax. I hate this movie, but I am in love with it. So let me talk about this. I'm going to talk about this one for a while. I know that nobody's watching this right now, but I have to talk about this movie. So, the original book, The Lorax, is one of my favorite stories. I know it's just a kid's story, but it is such a meaningful short story, and I don't think something needs to be this grand 200-page novel with literary devices to tell a good story. I think that the original Lorax is such a powerful movie about environmentalism and care. Then this movie came along and decided, whoa, let's make it an hour and a half and add jokes to it. And it doesn't work. Okay, I think you can take a simple story and expand it a lot. Shrek did that. But this movie sucks. Okay? I hate this movie on a personal level, but I'm also fascinated by it. So I can't give it... I don't know what to do. So this movie is so bad, but it's a joke. It's a meme. This movie is a meme. And I truly think that if I'm drunk, I would like this movie. Not unironically, but as a joke. It's so... God. I wrote a piano soprano duet based on the book. I want to see it now. That sounds awesome. I don't know what to give this movie. I can't score. I don't know if I can score this one. Because I hate it, but it means so much to me on a personal level because of how much I hate it. It's not a 1, because I'm fascinated by it. Also, the How Bad Can I Be song is like 50% of the reason why I hate and love this movie. Because my friends and I once made a PowerPoint of the worst lyrics in How Bad Can I Be? Because the whole song is terrible, but there are especially bad lyrics to it. But I also cannot stop thinking about that song because of how bad it is. That's basically my vibe throughout the whole movie. And oh yeah, Taylor Swift's in this movie. Taylor Swift's in this movie. I love Taylor Swift, but this is like the worst thing she's ever been in. I have no idea what to give this movie because I love it and I hate it. It wouldn't feel right to give this a low score because I'm fascinated by it. But it's not right to give it a high score because I hate it, but I can't give it a middle score because I feel like that makes me look like I'm ambivalent towards it. We'll get back to this movie. We'll revisit it. We're gonna make another tab, or we're gonna leave it open in another tab, and we're gonna revisit it because I love this movie. Space Jam. I don't like this movie. I feel like everyone who likes this movie likes it for nostalgia because the acting is really bad. Give it a meaningful 1. I can't, though. I can't give the Lorax a meaningful 1 because it's not a 1. It's not irredeemable. It's still funny, but ironically. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 2. And I'm gonna write when I review this. So I'm gonna review this after the stream, like maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna write here about how this movie is fascinating to me. Space Jam 3, Space Jam 2. The second Space Jam. First Space Jam is not a good movie. Second Space Jam. I enjoy the second Space Jam more. But as a joke. You know, it's objectively worse. The plot of this movie is so stupid. I don't think this explanation does justice to how dumb Space Jam 2 is. But okay, I'm gonna give it the same score as the first one. They're both 3 out of 10s. They're not really that different. We scored the Lorax. Oh, there's one more bad movie that I have to go over. I didn't even know this was a movie. But my friend wanted me to watch Avalanche Sharks. This is one of... Yeah, I think you can already tell by the poster and the theme, like the description, that this is a 1. I hate this. I was laughing so hard during this movie at the dialogue. Because the dialogue is really stupid. I'm not even going to quote some of the lines, any of the lines in this movie. It's so stupid. This movie's also racist. And if you watch it, you'll understand why. But please don't watch it. It's like a waste of space. I will never reclaim the 2 hours it took me to get to this movie. And yes, it took me 2 hours. Because I know that it's only 82 minutes, but I had to keep pausing it to laugh or to take a walk. Because it's so dumb. But it's so dumb. I was recommended to watch an anime movie called Bakuman, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So just know that it's in my heart. Okay, now we're going to get to the actual... So everything we talked about just now, like all the animated movies, those were, I think, ironic recommendations. Now we're actually going to get to the serious recommendations. Because Wreck-It Ralph was serious. But like Lorax, Space Jam, I feel like those are people just riffing on me. Which I'm fine with. You know, we need bad movies to populate our... Well, let's check our score distribution. Yeah, rest in peace, bell curve. Rest in peace, bell curve. This is not a bell curve. But anyway, we still have some more movies to get through, so let's do them. Next one is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Oh, there's a movie called Eternal Sunshine. Ah, here we are. Now, I think I'm too dumb for this movie. I think I'm too dumb for Eternal Sunshine. I need to rewatch it because apparently I didn't realize certain things. Like, I didn't realize that Clementine's hair color changes based on the mood and the stage of their relationship. And I feel like with that in mind, it's getting an 8. But even without knowing that, even when I didn't pick up on the symbolism, this is still probably one of my favorite love stories. It's very creative. This concept is very creative to me. I don't know if it's actually creative or not because I don't know if this kind of thing had ever been done before or how much it had been done before. I really like this movie. It's amazing. It's amazingly told. I would say that. It's just I think I would view this movie differently if I were ever in a relationship, which I haven't been in. I've never been in a relationship in real life. So I don't... I am in a relationship with Florence Pugh. So remember what this means. Eternal Sunshine is getting an 8 though. I'll rewatch it and see if it deserves this score. Or if it should go up. But this is just... I still really liked it. What's the score? In the Letterboxd top 150. That's what that means. Okay. Cube. So this was a horror movie. This is a horror movie. And you guys know I don't like horror. But this is like a math horror movie. It's weird. This is a very low budget movie. And it's very strange. I don't know what to give it. I did enjoy it a little. But it was just a little too weird. And I don't like horror. I don't like horror. No, I'm sorry. It's, yeah, in these horror movie lists. I still, by the way, I still don't get the math stuff. So apparently the key to getting out of the cube, not really actually, because this is very Kafkaesque in that there's no way out of the cube, but the way to navigate the cube is apparently math, like prime numbers, and I'm not that bad at math. But I couldn't figure out how they were getting out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb, and I need to rewatch this. But I didn't see how they were using math and coordinates to do it. I don't know. I'm just not good at math, probably. But speaking of horror that I actually like, now, if my internet's gonna work. Load Letterboxd, please. Load. Midsommar. Oh my god. Hold on, give me just 1 minute. I need to check my phone for something. Hold on. Let's see this. Okay. Midsommar. Oh my god. And this is a Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh. Look. Hold on. Look. Okay, we're gonna bring that down now. Florence Pugh is the love of my life. That is unironically true. I've just realized my head's been covering parts of the screen. So you might not have seen my ratings for some of them. So where do we start talking about Midsommar? First of all, this movie has some of the best crying scenes that I have ever seen in any movie ever. If you are not in the right state of mind, if you feel like you're prone to crying, you should not watch Midsommar. The beginning of this, so everyone knows, like, this is a cult movie, and the ending is freaking horrible, like horrific. It's a good ending, but it's horrific. The beginning actually made me more uncomfortable, where Danny is crying, because of the... I'm not going to spoil this movie. I'm not going to spoil it. But, oh my god, there are some insane shots in this movie. There are some scenes where they're changing location, and the way the camera moves to get you there is really clever. It's like it'll be going through doorways, and it'll be going upside down and stuff, and it's really good. I don't normally like horror, but this not only unsettled me, but I actually really liked it. Not just I loved this movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I think I should. It's not so disturbing that I'll never watch it again. because I just really liked it. I like how everything in this movie works for me. It's such a good movie about indoctrination, and if you're not in the right state of mind to think about indoctrination, like, oh, you know, I want a feel good movie about getting out of a cult, you need to avoid this movie like the plague. Okay. It's either an 8 or a 9, but if you remember from the Marvel movie, select a few movies that have exceptionally good Florence Pugh scenes or acting moments. Anything where she's starring and she does an exceptionally good job, which is everything, gets an extra point. That's the only time we give extra points on this channel, okay? Okay, only for like the love of my life. So with that said, with that in mind, this is getting a 9. It's not a 10 because it's not one of my all-time favorite movies. But this is one of my favorite horror movies. This and Get Out are the only two that I would give a 9 out of 10 to. Unless I'm forgetting one. If I'm forgetting a horror movie, no, these are the only 2 9s in the whole genre. Only 2. I love this movie. If I review it more, I'm going to end up spoiling it, knowing me. But it's so good. The shot. Look at some of these shots. These are so cool. This is from the movie. These are really cool. I'm going to write a review of this. I just want everyone to know that Danny, if you're listening to this, Danny's a character, right? If your name is Danny and you're listening to this, it's not about you, or maybe it is. I don't know. But Danny, I would never treat you this way. I would give you all the love and respect and attention you deserve. How long has this stream been going on? 1 hour and 32 minutes. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. The Prestige. This is a mind-bending movie. So, this is a weird movie for me to talk about because it's so good. But at the same time, it's a little weird. So, The Prestige it takes place in Victorian England. I think Victorian. Someone can correct me on that. And so it has this very almost steampunk vibe to it. Not really steampunk, but like the teetering on the edge of the Second Industrial Revolution. And I'm going to spoil a bit about this movie because it does bring in like Nikola Tesla, which is nice. But then it has this insane twist to it. Those of you who have seen this movie know exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of takes you out of the movie a bit. Because the whole idea is that everything that happens in the world of magicians in this movie is based on misdirection and sleight of hand and general cleverness. And then you just have this insane device at the end that does this weird stuff. I'm not going to spoil it. So it kind of took me out of it a bit, but at the same time, it makes for such a cool experience. Oh yeah, ScarJo's in this movie. ScarJo's in a lot of the movies that we've talked about so far. She's in the Spongebob movie. Oh, I just realized. We'll get to you right after. No one asked me to watch it, but we'll get to Jojo Rabbit right after this. Prestige gets a 7. It's a good movie, actually. If you want a nice little mystery movie, not really a mystery, but if you want a nice little surprise movie, watch this. Jojo Rabbit is really good. It's comedy, but at the same time, it has this. It gets darker throughout the movie because it's about the Holocaust. Okay, so you can't not about the Holocaust. It takes place during World War II and the Holocaust. It's more about Jojo. Jojo's this young boy. His his coming to terms with his environment and his rejection of Hitler. But it's in the midst of all the indoctrination by the Nazis and all the pressure from the Nazi regime to be a certain kind of Nazi. It's also got this commentary on masculinity and what it means to be masculine, which I really like. And it's just such a good story about rejecting bigotry that you grew up with or that surrounds you. And I don't know how to say. It has a twist in it that that it comes out of nowhere. That it's not a jump scare or anything, but you should be aware that there are some abrupt tonal shifts in this movie that are very jarring, but they work very well. They can just be a little triggering. It involves. I'm not going to spoil more. You can comment if you want to know more. But I would just watch this. This is one of my favorite movies of 2019. 2019 has is, in my opinion, is one of the best movies in film history. How many movies have I rated from 2019? Midsommar, Captain Marvel. I've done these so far. We'll get to the others later. Jojo Rabbit's a 9. Arrival. Now, I've heard so many good things about Arrival, but I don't know. I don't know why I was a little bored during this movie. Maybe I'm a big dum-dum, and that's why I was bored during it. But I don't know. This movie suffers from my personal biggest pet peeve with movies, which is everything is too dark. Not thematically dark. It's literally too dark to see anything. Like everything is monochrome, black and gray. And I don't like it. But I do like this movie. I don't like the whole color scheme of this movie, but I like this movie overall. It just drags it sometimes. What I really like it about it, like the thing that I personally think this movie does super well, is the design of the aliens. So I think they're called, what are they called in this movie? Heptapods? It's not hexapods. I think they're heptapods. They perceive time in a non-linear manner, and that's reflected in their communication method, which is in like these circular. I don't even know what to call it. But look, I'm a chemical biology major, which is like it's mostly biology. But as a biology person and a lover of all things evolutionary biology, I kind of think that it shows a lack of creativity when all the aliens in movies are like human, or they're just weird versions of Earth animals, right? I think that Arrival, where it really shines, is that it takes a very unique twist on its aliens. Its aliens are so bizarre that at first you might not even think that they're real living things. And I like movies that conceptually take aliens and take them in weird directions, because evolution would occur so differently on another planet. Like there's obviously convergent evolution, but the idea and Marvel is very prone to this failure, but the idea of all of these other alien species from light years away converging on the human form, like the general human body plan, to me, it's fine for a movie, but it's also a little bit of lacking in creativity, in my opinion. Like, Arrival is the most creative take I've seen on aliens in an actual narrative film. There are, like, weird documentary series that also have more bizarre takes made by biologists, so that you actually have a biologist who's looking at the producers give them a planet with X, Y, and Z geography, and they come up with something. But I guess while I'm on this rant, because I'm kind of taking it back to the original roots of this channel with talking about science and evolution, but let's see if we can find a list of alien movies, and let's see if we can go through them. Let's find a long one. 100 movies. Okay. So let me talk about aliens really quickly and their biology. I know that I'm kind of derailing this, but that's kind of the point here. And I'm only going to talk about movies that I've seen unless I'm... Alien. Alien is a horror movie that I really like. So the Xenomorph in this movie is another unique body plan. It kind of looks human, but what I like is that they actually took a unique life cycle with the Xenomorph. So it's a parasite. There are a lot of animals, mostly, I think all invertebrates, that spend part of their life as a parasite, and then they emerge from the body of the host in an adult form. So maggots do this. They grow up to become flies. There are some mites that do this, all kinds of wasps that feed on caterpillars. And it's horrific, but we never stop to think about, what if the human was the host? You know? I love Alien. I like the Xenomorph and its life cycle. And some of the aspects of its biology are a little weird, like the acid blood that can burn through metal. But otherwise, this is a really cool design. Maybe some of you don't know what it looks like, but here. This is the Xenomorph from Alien. Oh, this is like a toy. And you can kind of see that it stands up, but in the original Alien, in the original movie, it doesn't stand up like that. It goes through a whole life cycle, and look at this. It has a dual set of jaws that it can extend, kind of like I know moray eels have a dual set of jaws, but that's kind of for suction purposes. I don't know if they can shoot it out. I don't think they can. This is just cool. Like it's a unique design, and it's humanoid, but it can go on all fours and stuff, and it's got a unique life cycle. I can imagine this convergently evolving. Although, who am I to judge? Superman is obviously the worst example of this. He literally looks exactly like a human. Aliens is basically this same movie. Oh, Aliens introduces the concept of these xenomorphs, the same alien I was showing you earlier, having a queen. And that's so cool. Like they're not eusocial, but is there a word for semi-eusocial? I don't know, but oh my god, so cool. I love Aliens. I love the way that these movies, at least the first two, Alien and Aliens, show the Xenomorph. This isn't really a horror movie anymore. It's an action movie, but it's so cool. Wow, I don't really watch a lot of Alien movies, do I? I watched Man of Steel and I didn't like it. This movie is just one big extended fight sequence after the most minimal amount of exposition. And I already said that The Incredibles is the only movie that does this well. While we're here, let's do the entire DCEU while we're here. DC Extended Universe. Guardians. Okay. I'm going on a lot of tangents here, but it's fine. Oh, let's do the 11. I have not watched every DCEU movie. We're just going to speed run through this in release order. Okay. Man of Steel was the first one. Batman v Superman has one good thing about it. It's the Batman versus the Goons fight scene. Otherwise, I hate this movie. Suicide Squad is so bad. It's 2. I remember I was young when I watched this, and when I was younger, I had very low standards for movies, and even I thought that movie sucked. Wonder Woman. Everyone says this movie's good, but And it is for the first 2/3, and then the final fight is so bad, and to me it ruins what could have been a really good movie. Because I would have preferred it if it ended on Ares not being real. Oh, I kind of spoiled this. Whatever, this movie's been out for 4 years. You've had time to see it. I would have preferred it if this movie ended on Ares not being real, and so that there was nobody to kill that Diana could kill in order to stop war. But the way that it does end, in which Diana does kill Ares, it just turned out to be the British guy. No, that sucks. That's so lame. Get out of here. Justice League is a 1. I hate this movie. There is nothing redeemable about the Justice League movie. Compare this to the Avengers, and it's like night and day. I hate this movie. Aquaman's a 5. I 5 out of 10. Shazam is the only DCEU movie that I unironically like. It's a 7 or 8. This 7. It's the only DCEU movie that I actually like. And I haven't seen any of these others, although I've heard that Suicide Squad is good. Moving on. Let's see. Interesting. Let's do Shutter Island next. I'm going down the list of... We're almost done with the list of movies that I was recommended. Now, this is another movie that I don't really want to talk about that much because I don't want to spoil it. I think you just need to watch this movie. It's getting a 7. You just need to watch this movie because the more I talk about it, the more I'm going to spoil it. So I'm going to leave it there. Okay, you can watch it. Goodfellas is obviously the best mob movie of all time. I've never watched The Godfather though, but it's the best one. And Letterboxd is lagging on me again. I don't know if my stream is lagging. Let me check if I'm having latency issues. No, YouTube is telling me that it's fine. This movie made me very hungry, which is a good sign. If a movie makes me hungry, it's doing something right. But yeah, I just like how this movie shows how being in the mob impacts every aspect of your being. Every aspect of your life, I should say. As opposed to just focusing on, the crime aspect or only the family aspect. Well, it's your life, so, a good life movie will intersect all of those different things. Up next, this is another movie that... There's a mosquito in my room. This is a movie that screws with time a lot. So, but it's done in a way that it's intended to warp your sense of time because it's told from the point of view of a man who is losing his grasp on what time means. He's suffering from dementia. And I think this movie does it very well. This is a very uncomfortable movie to watch. Like, you only watch this once and you never touch it again because of how uncomfortable it makes you. And I'm not going to spoil anything about it. I'm not going to talk anymore. You just watch it. Just watch it. It's good. 12 Angry Men. Now, I'm going to sound very generic, but I can't help it. This is one of the best movies of all time. It's honestly incredible to me that one of my personal... I get more enjoyment and excitement from 90 minutes of 12 people in a jury room talking to one another than any other superhero movie. And it's because it has such an airtight script. I know legally a lot of this stuff wouldn't pass, but it doesn't really matter. This is a 10. This is one of my favorite things of all time. I remember in AP Gov, our teacher put this on, and I was the only one watching it because I really liked it. I love this movie. I can watch this movie any day of the week. It's that good. It's that good. Catch Me If You Can. This is one of my friend's favorite movies, and I can see why. It's very interestingly told. I like watching, what's his name, Frank? Yeah, Frank Abagnale, like do his shenanigans. But then I found out that this movie is based on a biography with lies. Like most of the stuff didn't actually happen, and it kind of made me go, "Oh, this isn't a true story." And I really shouldn't dock a point from it because of that, but I can't help it. I can't really help it. Because there's just a bit of a turnoff to me when they say it's a true story, and then all of a sudden we find out, oh, it's not. And I guess it makes sense because the main character is a con artist, so it makes sense that he'd lie throughout much of it. Okay, next one is also not a movie, but it's a movie, but it's not really a movie. It's the Folklore Long Pond Studio Sessions. So this is like a Taylor Swift concert film. And Folklore it's tied with Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder for my favorite album of all time. They're tied, okay? So putting Folklore to film should be a 10 out of 10. It's getting a 9 because I wouldn't look at this and say, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite movies ever. This is my favorite album. But the movie is just really good. And like I know as a film, it's not, realistically, it doesn't get a score as a film. But I can't help it. This movie is one long therapy session, and it's very effective. Knives Out is up next. This is Knives Out. Knives Out is so good. It's also getting a 9. This is basically perfect. You should go watch Knives Out. Just go and watch it. This is my favorite mystery movie ever. I am going to say something about it. So if you haven't watched it and you don't want spoilers, close the tab for like 10 seconds. Okay? 3. Okay, you can close it in 3 and come back. Okay, but 3, 2, 1. Okay, Marta being able to tell the difference between morphine and the other thing, the other drug, based on their viscosity, is the kind of talent that every chemistry person and pre-med person wants. Okay, that's all I'll say. I just had to get that out there because this movie is so cool. I love it. This is honestly one of my personal favorite movies in terms of enjoyment, but it's not getting a 10. It's close. It's like Monsters, Inc. It's borderline 10. Grand Budapest Hotel. It's Budapest, I'm pretty sure. Right? Someone want to correct me on that? The cast for Knives Out is top-notch. Absolutely. Knives Out has one of the best casts I have ever seen. I love Knives Out, okay? Casting-wise, it's basically perfect. I really want to see more Benoit Blanc in the future from Daniel Craig. He's so good as Benoit Blanc. Grand Budapest Hotel is an 8. This is aesthetically one of the most pleasing movies I have ever seen. Wes Anderson has this style that I don't know if he started it with Fantastic Mr. Fox, but it's very much based on these wide shots of elaborate centerpieces, and it kind of centers on an object and it moves with the landscape. And it's just so... I don't know how to describe it because I'm not a cinematographer, but also the colors in this movie. This is one of the few movies that I've seen that actually has perfect color. Like, you watch this on as high brightness as your laptop or TV will take it, because you just want the colors to pop. I love Grand Budapest Hotel. The visual style here is like a carry on from, if you watched it, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think it's perfected here. Oh, let me rate Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't know if there's a word for this. One day they'll have a word for this, but it's like the Wes Anderson style. And if you've watched like 2 or 3 of his movies, you know exactly what I mean. It's his aesthetic. And I'm sure Wikipedia can explain it better in bullet points than I can. But it's so cool. I didn't like it as much in Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm sorry to say, I didn't like it as much in Fantastic Mr. Fox. I prefer it in Grand Budapest Hotel. Speaking of people in Grand Budapest Hotel, Saoirse Ronan is here. Saoirse Ronan is... So, okay, I know that Florence Pugh is the love of my life, but Saoirse Ronan is probably my personal, like, as an actual actress... Oh, no, actually, Florence Pugh is really fucking good, too. Oh, I know I said I wouldn't curse. I'm sorry. But Ladybird is the best coming-of-age film I've ever seen. This is so close to perfection as a movie. The fact that the average Letterboxd score is a 3.9, well, on my scale, this would be 7.8, it's too low. This is a 9 easily. It's borderline 10. The only reason it's not a 10 is because I personally don't relate to it as much as my other 10s. But this is a perfect movie. I can't help but, oh my god, if you don't cry during the airport scene in Lady Bird, you're heartless. You're either heartless or you have no life experiences. One or the other. The airport scene is gorgeous. The whole movie is gorgeous. It's a very short movie, by the way. But I also wouldn't recommend watching it unless you're emotionally ready, because this is a very heavy movie. It's a high school movie, but it's more heavy and it's more. Help me out, chat. What's the word? It's more thematically meaningful and deep than any other high school movie I've ever seen. I don't know if there's any high school movie I've seen that even touches it. Hang on, someone wants the link. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. If you're not emotionally ready for this, don't watch it. Otherwise, I personally think that this is a perfect movie. One day it might be a 10. One day. And I actually think that this concludes the movies that I was actually recommended. Oh, so Letterboxd lets you pick your top 4 movies, and I can't pick only 4, but I'm going to try. I'm going to attempt to do that. However, in order to do so, we kind of need to input all of my favorite movies so that I can, like, I haven't decided what they're going to be. So I'm going to think about this. And this is going to be like the last leg of the stream. This is going to be me inputting my favorite movies with some other things. Like if I go on a tangent and I mention something else, I'm going to add that. But before we do that, let me check my... So, okay, we kind of threw away the bell curve, didn't we? Yeah. This isn't a bell curve anymore. Isha's here. Hello, Isha. Isha, we just finished rating all of the movies that I was recommended. So, here they are. We went through a lot of movies. We went through a lot. Okay, now we're going to input the 10s out of 10s. I'm going to start talking about my all-time favorite movies. But before we do that, okay, I'll talk about something that happens. In the MCU video, I did say that I only have one Marvel movie that I would give the rare, elusive 10 out of 10 score. There's only one. And some people actually asked me what it was. And I said, I'm not going to tell you, but you can watch the stream, because I wanted people to watch this. Now, some people correctly guessed that it was a Spider-Man movie. So let's talk about the Sam Raimi trilogy. So Spider-Man 1 is not very good. I'm sorry. Like, I know that this is a classic. Isha says, I'm doing the crossword, but I have to unpack. It's okay, Isha. You can do the crossword later. Thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for listening in. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Spider-Man 1. So, the Spider-Man movies, to me, the original Raimi trilogy, has always been a meme. This trilogy is one extended meme. And I don't really like Spider-Man 1 that much. It's campy. And I don't like Tobey Maguire, okay? He's not good at acting, in my opinion. I don't like his performance in these movies. This movie is saved. I also don't like James Franco as Harry Osborn. He's doing a terrible job. And MJ is so annoying in these movies. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, is carrying this entire movie. So for that reason, as an actual movie, I would give this a 4 out of 10. But if I watch this looking for comedy, it's a 6. Because this movie is so funny. Like, it's a joke to me. So I'm very sorry to all you Raimi fans, but I don't take this movie that seriously. It's like a joke. Homecoming is still so much better than this. But okay, let's talk about Spider-Man 2 now. Because this is the one that everyone says is really good. And I watched all of these very recently, like 2 days ago, for the sake of this stream, because one of my friends wanted me to watch them. Spider-Man 2 is actually... Now, I expected this movie to be like Spider-Man 1. How do I feel about the No Way Home trailer? I'm very excited. I'm very excited for No Way Home. I can't wait for it. No Way Home is the first MCU movie in a very long time since Endgame that actually made me excited for the trip, like because of the trailer. Okay, Far From Home was cute, trailer-wise. I felt nothing for the Black Widow trailer. Okay, I felt nothing during the Black Widow trailer. I'm so sorry. I know I gave it a 6 out of 10, but realistically, it's a 5. But you already know why Black Widow got an extra point, so you got the bottom left. So Isha and I were doing a crossword puzzle a few hours ago, and I finished it before the stream started, but Isha had to go somewhere, so now she's finishing it. And yeah, you got the bottom left corner. The bottom left corner was very hard. So congratulations, Isha. But yeah, I'm excited for No Way Home. It looks so insane, but I'm so excited for it. They're bringing back Doc Ock. Okay, let's score Spider-Man 2. I really like what this movie did with... I think my favorite part about Spider-Man 2, after Pizza Time, is... So, Peter loses his powers in this movie temporarily because of like all the anxiety and stress from his life. And it really shows him falling apart in a way that I don't think Homecoming or Far From Home did. And that is phenomenal. This is like remember how in my Homecoming review I kind of said that I don't like how in Homecoming they the only thing I didn't like about Homecoming that much is how it's kind of disconnected from Spider-Man's, working class roots, and how there's this whole narrative about how Vulture is trying to convince Peter to... Tobey Maguire's... No, come on. Tobey's the worst Spider-Man. Well, Tobey is not as good as Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I don't think so. I think Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. Toby is a meme to me. But yeah, I'm sorry. The acting is just not good. But his story in Spider-Man 2 to me is the most Spider-Man story. Like come on, everyone, come on. I know for a fact. I like in Far From Home they did a vision. Peter Morning. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I reviewed Far From Home in another video. I didn't want to talk about the MCU that much here, but yeah, I would agree. I like how they show Peter Morning in Far From Home starts to death. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, and I know for a fact that everyone watching this stream right now, live at least, is a college student who knows that we don't perform at our best when we have anxiety. So that's what Spider-Man 2 is about for me. If I watch it in that regard, it's an 8. It's better than Far From Home, not as good as Homecoming. It's somewhere in between. So for those of you who guessed that Spider-Man 2 is my only 10 out of 10 Marvel movie, good guess, because I really did like it. But it's not my favorite. So that leaves Spider-Man 3. Now this is an awful movie. This movie is so bad, but as you all know, I would rather watch a bad movie than a good movie. I think Spider-Man 3 is the movie. Okay, I think that if I were to rank the movies that I watched by how well I can quote them, not how good they are, but how easily I can quote them, Spider-Man 3 has to be up there. This movie is a joke. It's everything. See, there's a good story beneath this movie. It's just that there are like 4 good stories and they all intersect. And it just makes one really bad story. It has so many villains and it does not do a good job of managing them. But this movie is so entertaining to me. I think Spider-Man 3, unironically, Spider-Man 2 is my favorite of the Raimi Trilogy. But this is like a Lorax situation. I don't know what to give it because I hate it, but I love it. And it doesn't feel right to give it a 5. I can't give it a low score because I enjoy it too much. Oh, I don't know what to give this movie. I love Spider-Man. The bully Maguire, the emo Peter Parker is so funny to me. That's my personal favorite meme. Oh my gosh. I think I'm going to give Spider-Man 3. This is so bad it's good. I think I'm going to do what I did with the Lorax and give it a score of I'm going to look at what other people gave it. Hold on. For a 9 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I think I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. But when I'm going to type up a review at some point explaining that this is an amazing movie. Okay. I enjoy Spider-Man 3 so much. Now, it's time to talk about my all-time favorite movies. So, let me record. Actually, no, I'll do that later. Now, the moment that everyone has been waiting for. The only Marvel movie that I would give a 10 out of 10 to. Or is it? Is it here? Wait, where is it? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is it. This is the one Marvel movie that I give a 10 out of 10 to. And let me explain. Because I feel like when I explain this, it's going to show what I mean by it. I'm going to use this to explain the difference between a 9 and a 10. Okay? Because there's a difference. Okay? I'm very picky with who gets a 10. So, when I first watched Spider-Verse in theaters, I thought that it was really good. I appreciated the animation a lot. And I really, really, really liked the, story to it. It was cute. But it didn't click with me the way that it clicked for everyone else, which is fine. Okay, I don't want to cave into pressure to like something. Then, 2 years later, maybe, one of my friends was streaming it on Discord. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch it. And upon rewatch, I realized that this movie is amazing. Like, I realized how good this is. And I decided, okay, you're an 8 or a 9. But it does not... I got all... It's not that I didn't get any of the emotional beats to it, because I did. Okay? I understood everything in it. The only problem that I had, kind of, with... And I'm going to tell a personal story, but I trust you all. And, so... The only problem that I had with Spider-Verse is Miles masters his powers too quickly. And for me, that kind of kills any kind of suspension of disbelief here. I know there are other superhero movies that show, and I know that Spider-Verse shows his struggle through it, but I feel like he mastered it in one night. Or he didn't master it, but he learned how to control it in like one night, and it doesn't feel right to me. So that was always the thing that was holding it back from like a 9, and then I wasn't going to give it a 10. Then, this summer, so I have sleeping issues, right? And I'm going to tell us, it's a story time. This is story time on this channel. This is this channel's very first story time. But when I had... Okay, so I have sleeping issues, and things don't... Like, I've seen... Okay, I've tried melatonin, chamomile tea, all these kinds of different things, and you know what? They don't work. They didn't work, at least. And this July, my insomnia got really bad. Like, I was spending hours trying to fall asleep. Like 4 hours. And this was happening every night, and it was getting very frustrating. So, one of my friends who... she was always the person who I had lunch with. Like, when I did have lunch with someone, it wasn't like every day, but like maybe, I don't know, once or twice a week maybe. So I'd have lunch with her, right? And we'd talk about our issues, and this was one of the things that we talked about. And then she's like, oh, you should try blah, 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 blah. You should try yoga. So she sent me yoga videos. I was doing them. They weren't working, because I was like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, I'll do blah, 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 blah. And then one day, she's just like... So one day it was really bad. Absolutely terrible. And so I come in the next day to lunch, and I tell her, and she says, you know what, Justin? Your problem is that you don't believe that any of these things are going to work. And that's true, kind of true, because I, as a science person, I have to approach things with a degree of skepticism. But that's more of in the lab. So she goes, yes, in the lab you do that, but when it comes to your personal problems, you just have to put some faith into it. She told me that. I don't remember her exact words, but she said something like that. And I said, huh. Okay, and so she said, what did she say? This was an in-person thing, so I can't look back on the text. She told me that I just have to let go of things and believe that it will work tonight. And she sent me another yoga video and told me to read. And I was like, okay, I don't think this will work, but I'm going to try it. And I'm going to put faith in it working. Even though it shouldn't have, because it's the same thing that I've been doing. And then that night, I shit you not. This is not a meme. I shit you not. That night, I was able to sleep. That was like the first time in half a month that I was able to fall asleep within like half an hour. Within an hour. And she had told me before, she was like, oh, if you're able to fall asleep tonight, I'm going to take full credit. We would just like fuck with me. And so I hesitated to tell her this story for a while because I didn't want her to take credit for curing my insomnia. I still do have sleepless nights. For whatever reason, I can't really pinpoint anything. But they're not frequent. They're not as frequent anymore. They can come like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. I don't know. But I've learned how to manage them a lot better because of that. So what does this have to do with Spider-Verse, right? And that night, before I went to bed, actually it was on the way home, right? I realized, wait a minute. This is how Miles mastered his powers in Spider-Verse. You know, you're not always... There are some things in life where you're not going to be prepared for them. You're not going to be ready. You're never going to find the right moment to do something. You're never going to find a perfect cure. But you have to take a leap of faith that it's going to work. And that to me, and I saw it in the movie. I saw that that's what the movie was going for, but it's very different when you're in that kind of experience yourself. So I realized maybe the reason why all of these things weren't working was not because they don't work, or it's not because there's a specific thing that there's not a specific remedy to it. It's that you need to take a leap of faith with it. You need to put some faith in things working. You need to put some faith that you can do something, that you can accomplish something, and even if it's impossible, you just jump. And if you fail, you get back up again. I know that's very generic, and I know that everyone's like, Justin realized something that everyone realizes at the age of 10, but it is very emotionally different when you go through it yourself. So Spider-Verse took on a new meaning for me. And that's what I mean when I say 10 out of 10. My all-time favorites. The ones that truly, on a visceral, emotional level, touch me. Okay? That's the difference between a 9 and a 10. 9 and 10 both are functionally, like, they're what most people would give a 10 out of 10. But the difference is that 10, for me, takes that extra leap. And it's very rare that a movie does that. I'm about to give you all of my 10 out of 10 movies. I've been holding off on answering this text for 10 minutes, so give me a minute to answer it. Sorry, this is important. Give me a minute. There's a mosquito in my room too. I'm really hoping I don't. Hold on, everybody. Okay. So, we gave Spider-Verse a 10 out of 10. Let's move on, okay? I don't know if it's still watching. We did Coco. We did Ratatouille, and we did Willy already. What have we given a 10 out of 10? Hold on. Sort by your rating. Okay. We've given 12 Angry Men a 10 out of 10. Okay. Let's do the other really old movie that I really think is one of my all-time favorites. Doctor Strangelove. And I feel like whenever I talk about what's my favorite movie, I mention this movie. And I feel like people hear Doctor Strange, and I have to say, no, not the Wizard one. Not the Marvel one. Doctor Strangelove is a Cold War satire about mutually assured destruction. And I love it. Every single second of this movie is pure comedy gold or heightened tension. Even there is an extended sequence in the beginning where it's just right, and it's so good. It's on a plane, and it should be so boring, but it works. It's just such a good satire. Like, you have to watch it, and the ending. I feel like everyone already knows that this movie is incredible. The funniest line. This movie is so funny. There's this really famous line where the president goes, "Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room." And yeah, if that's not a satire, if that's not commentary on the U.S. government's entire structure, I don't know what is. This is a 10, easily. Now, I'm trying to think of what my other favorite, like what else is in contention for my favorite. Now, okay, I mentioned that Prince of Egypt is one of my favorite religious movies. I should have said it's my second favorite. Because there's really only one other religious movie that tops it. And that's Silence by Martin Scorsese. This is a movie that is not for everyone. I would not recommend this movie to people. It is very, very dark. It is very mature. And it is very heavy on the theology. I think the way that you watch this movie is going to be influenced by the way you view religion. So for context, this whole movie is based on... I'm comfortable saying that it's based on true stories, because it is. These events really happened. I'm not sure if this specific person is real, but it's based on how in medieval Japan, Christianity was outlawed, and so priests would attempt to come in illegally, and also any Japanese Christians were executed. And it's the story of two young priests, played by Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver, looking for their mentor, whose father Ferreira, played by Liam Neeson. This is a very long movie, and it's very difficult to watch. And I think that some people are going to watch it and say, what's the point? But if you're like me, this is one of the most powerful movies you will ever watch. I would not recommend it to the average person, because, like I said, it's gonna the way you view this movie is going to depend on your view on religion, not your religious views, maybe, but how you view it, how you view the concept of religion, and you'll understand when you watch it. I don't want to spoil anything about this movie. We have two more movies that I want to go through, and they're two of. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, if you watched this entire stream, and I think that no one watches a 2-hour stream, 2.5 hours. But if you have made it this far, you know that there is one movie that I talk about a lot, but I haven't mentioned yet. It's Scott Pilgrim. This is, in terms of my personal enjoyment, this is my favorite movie of all time. I love Scott Pilgrim. It doesn't... How do I begin describing Scott Pilgrim? This is truly a... I know Wikipedia calls it a transmedia narrative, but that seems a little bit pretentious. What it really is a comic book brought to life. So if you've watched Spider-Verse, you've seen like the most raw form of comic book brought to life, but Scott Pilgrim, I think, did the same thing, maybe even a little bit better 8 years prior. You really do have that insane kind of there's a word for this in universe, diegetic media. So you'll have onomatopoeia in the corner, you'll have little glimpses into Scott's mind where the needle turns when he realizes something, you'll have uh, all kinds of amazing things in this movie, and it's visually so great. And you might say, okay, this movie doesn't mean anything, and that's not true. This movie is my personal viewing. On my most recent viewing, is on how we view our past. You know, we are able to move on beyond former relationships and former flames, I'll say, and we're able to look forward into our futures. But we need a level of self-respect to do that. We need to be able to accept that we deserve better in order to overcome the idea that we're not deserving of certain things. Scott Pilgrim needs its own video. I don't even know why I started talking about it. Scott Pilgrim is going to need its own video, 2-hour, 3-hour long video explaining why it is one of the greatest movies of all time. And I will say one more thing. This has the best cast of any movie of all time. You cannot disagree with me on this. I dare you to name a movie with a better cast than this. Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers, Ellen Wong as Knives. I love Ellen Wong as Knives Chow, Kieran Culkin, Alison Pilgrim. Come on, Aubrey Plaza, Anna Kendrick, Chris Evans, Mae Whitman, and Brie Larson is here too. Brie Larson. You can't. This has the best cast of any movie of all time. Okay, this has been going on for a really long time. But, okay, one more movie, and that's it. One more movie, and then we go on to picking my 4 favorite movies. Okay? And then we're done. And I've saved the best for last. Now, I can't pick a personal favorite movie. I can't do it. Like, honestly, I can't. But for the sake of this stream and for this website, I'm going to pick one for the sake of having it on this website and having it first and having an interesting stream, which is why I saved it for last. I thought for a really long time about what it should be. And I'm going to actually hide the window for a minute. So you're just going to see a blank screen, hopefully, while I type it in so I can pull it up. Some of you might already know what it is, but... And you're going to be like, okay, really, Justin? Like, the people who know me might say, this is your favorite movie? And I'm going to say, well, first of all, like I said, favorite is kind of impossible to pick. But my personal top pick, if you ask me what my favorite movie is Little Women by Greta Gerwig. The 2019 one. I am not going to say a word about this movie right now. Because it needs its own video and analysis explaining why I love it so much. I can't do it justice in a review by giving... I can't give it only a minute to explain it and expect to do it justice. Actually, I'm going to give this one the heart. Wait, no, I did say that I wouldn't do it. But yeah, this is my true 10 out of 10. This is my personal... If you made me pick, if you forced me to pick a favorite movie, it's this one. Okay? And yes, before people ask, I did rewatch it. I've watched this movie multiple times. And yes, it still holds up as my personal favorite upon rewatch. Okay, so that was a wild ride. That was 2.5 hours of me talking. Let's pick our 4 favorite movies. Woo, yay. Okay, now this is going to be impossible because, first of all, let me see what my... Now, I know that the bell curve idea we kind of threw that away. There's no more bell curve. I know that 5 was supposed to be the mean, median mode, but now it looks like the mode is 8. The median looks like it's 6 or 7, and the mean is somewhere around 6 or 7, which I know is against what I said I would do. Did I not rate Scott Pilgrim? Hold on. Did I not rate Scott Pilgrim? Oh my god, I forgot to rate Scott. Wait, I did. So why is Letterboxd saying that I didn't? What? Hold on. Okay, no, it's here. It's here. Okay, so now we're going to select. God. Whew. Okay, let's filter them so we can. Let's only consider the 10 out of 10s. There are a few other. Oh, I forgot one. Oh my Jesus! I'm sorry. I know that I said Little Women would be the last one, but Parasite's also a 10, easily. Parasite's one of my favorite movies of all time. Now we can do this. Okay, now we can officially start. There are some other movies that were like borderline 10 out of 10. But I don't really want to rate them right now because if I'm hesitating on giving them the 10, then they're probably actually a 9, and I don't want to go through all my 9s. So, the first movie we're gonna put in, like I said, is Little Women, 2019. If I had to pick, it's my favorite. Oh boy. Now we only have 3 other spots, and we have to be very careful with how we give them. I don't really think it matters that much, but this is going to be on my front page, so we should put some effort into it. I think Scott Pilgrim needs a spot. We're going to give the second spot to Scott Pilgrim. And then these next 2, oh. One of them is going to go to a Pixar movie. One of them is going to go to Ratatouille, Wally, or Coco. And the other one is going to go to one of the others. So I don't think Spider-Verse makes it into the top 4. I don't think Parasite makes it into the top 4. I also want some diversity because this is the first thing that people are going to see on my profile, and I kind of want it to say something about my tastes or what I look for or who I am. Okay, I want it to be who I am. I want people to look at these 4 and say, "Oh, this is Justin." And specifically, I know that we read left to right, or my camera's mirrored, so from left to right. So the order doesn't really matter that much, but it also does. But Little Women stays at number 1. I think Coco is slightly edged out by Wall-E and Ratatouille. And so between Wall-E and Ratatouille, oh, this is so hard. I don't know which one I like more. These are both Are there enough people in chat to help me out? If you're in chat and you're listening, help me out. Say hi or something. I'm gonna give this to Ratatouille or Wall. I think we're gonna get back to this one. And I think I'm gonna give Silence a spot. Not only because, first, I think it deserves a top 4 spot, but I also think that So Parasite, 12 Angry Men, and Doctor Strangelove are already very much represented on Letterboxd, like I think Parasite's the #1 movie of all time. #1, according to average Letterboxd score. I don't really follow it. 12 Angry Men is 6. Doctor Strangelove is 125. Spider-Verse is 17. And I don't think Silence is placed. No. No, it's not. So that's why I'm giving... That's one of the reasons why I'm giving it the spot. I think it needs more love. No one in chat said anything. So I'm going to make an executive call. This is the final difficult decision of the night. Wally or Ratatouille? Oh, I love these equally. I want to give them both spots. But then I'd have to kick one of these off. And I don't think that's fair. Why can't Letterboxd let you put 5? Right? If we could put 5, that would solve all of our problems. I think that we're going to give the spot. Okay. For now, I think Wally barely, by a whisker, is ahead of Ratatouille. They're tied. I love them both equally. I'm going to give the one spot to Wally, but I might choose one day to switch this out with Ratatouille. I might switch them out every week, honestly, because I think they're just about equal. Okay, I'm pretty sure that the two people who are watching the stream right now both know organic chemistry. I think. So, think of this as resonance, right? They're both there. Both forms are equally likely to happen. But in order to visually represent it, we need to draw like the double-headed arrow. That's my analogy for this, okay? And if you don't know chemistry, I'm very sorry. This is also partially a chemistry channel, so... Alright, so... Let's go back to the profile. Let's see. Okay. Oh, do I have to save this? I have to save changes. Yay! We have a Letterboxd profile. Okay. And I'll review some of these. I'll have written reviews for some of these, maybe. Well, bell curve is gone. 10 out of 10. Okay, before I leave, does anybody want me to review anything? Okay, I kind of want to fill up this negative tail end, but also not really. I don't feel an urge to do that. But 115 is a pretty solid sample size. Yeah, I think we're done here. Now, my friend told me once that there's this feature where you can see who are like the highest rated actors. But I think that's only for Letterboxd Pro. I think that's only for Pro. So I can't see that. Let's remove all filters. But yeah. Let me just do one more scan to see if we need to lower any scores. No. All of these scores look like they stand. Space Jam 1 might be a 2. No, actually, no. I let it stand at a 3. Okay. We're done. I think we're done. Okay. Well, That is by far the longest thing I've ever done on this channel. I'm gonna take some water because my throat is a little sore right now. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching this stream. This was very fun. If you want my Letterboxd, it's want to follow me. It's here. Where is it? Appa _yip _yip _ almost the same as my Instagram. And it even links to my YouTube channel, so you'll know that it's me. Okay. That's all. Good night, everybody. Good night for me. I'm on the East Coast. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for staying, everybody. I hope that this was somewhat entertaining. I don't know if anything that I do is entertaining anymore. But thank you for watching. Alright, good night, everyone. Bye.